Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 4th of September 2016 and the 29th of Misra 17:32 AM. I'm David Nada. In today's headlines, the Holy Synod released a statement concerning the building and restoration of the churches in Egypt. First on CNN, United States fires warning shots at Iranian vessel after close encounter. Tropical Storm Hermine takes aim Florida and is expected to turn into hurricane. San Diego Border Patrol seizes $3 million and the Alzheimer's drug study that's giving exciting results. To our top story, the Holy Synod of the Coptic Orthodox Church, headed by His Holiness Pope Tawadros II, issued a statement on the Wednesday, August 24th, 2016, announcing that the church has reached an agreement with the Egyptian government on the construction and restoration of demolished and damaged churches. The proposal is being sent to the House of Representatives. The Coptic Orthodox Church has issued the following statement regarding the draft law proposed by the government for the building and restoration of the churches. On Wednesday, the 24th of August, the Holy Synod of the Coptic Orthodox Church held a special meeting to discuss the draft law with the Egyptian churches and had a draft a few months ago which should be shortly placed before the House of Representatives. Pope Tawadros II presided over the meeting, in which 105 metropolitan and bishops took part out of a total of 126, who were the members of the Holy Synod, in context of the recent meetings and discussions on the draft law, which took place after President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Prime Minister Sharif Esmail, and Minister of Legal Affairs Magdi El-Ghetti, the 10 items of draft law and latest changes in them were thoroughly discussed and debated. The Coptic Orthodox Church, after exchanging opinion on the draft law and reaching agreement with the other churches in Egypt, and in all good faith, declares that an agreement has been reached on a final draft law to be approved by the next cabinet next week and accordingly represented to the House of Representatives shortly. Laws are ultimately texts that should not be applied literally, but with open minds and awareness to preserve the peace and unity of Egyptians, as well as the sympathy and compassion that should shape the future of equality and justice. This statement went on to applaud the historic coexistence of Copts and Muslims in Egypt, and also to thank the officials, legal experts, writers, intellectuals, politicians, and media persons who made proposals or contributions that served to help shape the draft in its final form. We pray that the Lord should constitute a step on the path of building a modern Egypt. The statement concluded, "We understand that the first years of its application will be measure of its effectiveness, validity, and respect for the other. We hope its implementation will give rise to no problems on the ground." In other news, CNN has learned that a US Navy patrol craft fired 3 warning shots at Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps boat on Wednesday after US officials said it had harassed the patrol craft. Another US patrol craft and a Kuwaiti Navy ship were also harassed in the incident, which took place in the northern end of the Persian Gulf. At one point, the Iranian boat came within 200 yards of one of the US Navy boats. When it failed to leave the area after the Navy had fired flares and had a radio conversation with the Iranian crew, the US officials said the USS Squall fired 3 warning shots, following standard maritime procedures. The Navy fired the 3 shots into the water to ensure that the Iranians understood that they needed to leave the immediate area. Over to Syria, where the buses, packed with people, rumbled past bombed out buildings in the Damascus suburb of Daraya on Saturday. The state-run Syrian Arab news agency reported an evacuation agreement reached between the government and rebels gave thousands of civilians and hundreds of fighters safe passage out of the besieged city. They began leaving on Friday after a convoy of Red Crescent ambulances arrived in the early morning in Daraya, which is just southwest of Syria's capital Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a London-based group that monitors the conflict, said it was informed by the reliable sources that 5 vehicles carrying fighters and their families have reached the city of Idlib. It also said a second group of civilians from Daraya left the city bus. The evacuation operation is continuing Saturday under supervision of the United Nations and the Red Crescent. Sana, citing one of its reporters, said buses entered the city on Saturday to evacuate more people and gunmen. Some buses transported families toward makeshift centers, and others drove gunmen and their families toward Idlib after being searched and army checkpoints. Mohammed al-Adani, the official spokesman of ISIS and one of its most senior members, has died in Syria, according to the terror group's rare public statement. His death marks the highest profile killing of ISIS member. A key deputy to ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he was the person floated to be his successor should anything happen to al-Baghdadi. A statement from ISIS Amaq news agency on Tuesday said al-Adani died while inspiring military operations in the area of Aleppo. ISIS has not revealed his cause of death and said it determined to seek revenge for the killing. The ISIS statement said, after a journey filled with sacrifice and fight against non-believers, the Syrian gallant knight Abu Muhammad al-Adani joined the convoy of Mahdi leaders. To the filthy and coward non-believers and to the holders of the Christ emblem, we bring the good news which will keep them awake, that a new generation in the Islamic State that loves death more than life, this generation will only grow steadfast on the path to jihad. Stay determined to seek revenge and be violent toward them. Tropical Storm Hermine will likely strengthen into a hurricane by the time it makes landfall, according to a prediction by the National Hurricane Center. The storm, currently in the Gulf of Mexico, is projected to make a landfall in Florida. If it becomes a hurricane, it would be the first to hit the state since Wilma in 2005. The center of the storm is expected to be near Florida by the coast by early Friday. The Hurricane Center said that residents along the Gulf Coast pounded by heavy rain on Wednesday in advance of the storm should be prepared for flooding and storm surges, as Hermine could bring up to 10 inches of rain or 20 inches in isolated areas. It is crucial that every Floridian has a plan in place to ensure their families, homes and businesses are fully prepared, Governor Rick Scott said in declaring the state of emergency for 51 of the 67 counties. Hermine is moving northeast at 12 miles per hour but is expected to gain speed through Thursday. Strong winds from the storm are expected to reach the Florida coast in the Panhandle region beginning Thursday night. It also warned of dangerous storm surge and flooding along the Gulf Coast that could be life-threatening from the Opeka to Indian Pass, which is located in central Florida about 50 miles north of Tampa. Activists created a makeshift beach on Thursday outside the French embassy in London as part of a demonstration against France's burkini ban. So far, 15 French towns have banned the burkini, a full-length swimsuit that covers the whole body except for the face, hands and feet. Officials say the ban on the outfit, mostly worn by Muslim women, is a response to growing terror concerns. Wearing everything from bikinis to burqas and even priest cloaks, demonstrators in London built sandcastles and brandished signs saying, "Wear what you want." Border Patrol Agency California hit a jackpot this week in terms of cash seizures, just over $3 million. For the agency that deals with border security, it was a major intercept of smuggled cash. The Border Patrol noted most of its past seizures have been in smaller amounts, $300,000, $51,000 and $43,000. This is one of our largest cash seizures, said Ralph Odiseo, spokesman for the San Diego Office of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Normally, he said, the big figure reported is the value of confiscated drugs. Currency, smuggling and money laundering are the lifeblood for the Mexican cartels, moving the majority of heroin, cocaine and methamphetamines across the US, as well as for human traffickers. Experts say that if sophisticated gangs can't get their tens of millions of dollars in cash home each year, the US market wouldn't be nearly as attractive. And California is central to those type of activities. Los Angeles is known as the nation's epicenter for money laundering by international drug cartels, federal officials said in 2014 after raiding businesses and seizing an estimated $100 million in cash from the bank accounts around the world. San Diego is a major hub for actually trafficking the proceeds from illicit activities, the CEO said. The money was found in a Volkswagen Passat, a car not as likely to attract the attention. The $3 million, however, pales in comparison to seizures elsewhere, such as the $24 million seized in June by Miami-Dade police in Florida. The agency confirmed the Volkswagen Passat was suspected of having driven in tandem with another car, a Kia. They arrested the driver, a 41-year-old Mexican national, for suspicion of currency smuggling. The trunk of the Passat is where they recovered the $3 million and $18,000. The Border Patrol turned over the two suspects to Homeland Security, and they now face federal charges for currency smuggling. In the United States, slammed as an unpatriotic and disrespectful San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick has taken heat for refusing to stand during the national anthem. Kaepernick was criticized as being insulted to those who made sacrifices for the country. A Gold Star mum who lost her son in an IED attack in Afghanistan told CNN that her heart stopped and she lost her breath when Kaepernick said he couldn't stand for the flag. Local war veterans in San Francisco criticized him as a poor role model, according to CNN affiliate Cron. The San Francisco Police Union has demanded that the NFL denounce Kaepernick's foolish statements. Others, including activist and NBA great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, have praised him for bringing awareness to a major issue. Kopernik sat in protest over what he called the oppression of black people and people of colour during the national anthem before an NFL preseason game on Friday. As the controversy grew, members of the military and veterans took to social media using the hashtag #VeteransForK Kopernik, which started trending worldwide on Tuesday. Americans who serve in the military are by no means a monolithic group. Less than 1/3 of the US military identify as minorities: African Americans, Asians, American Indians, and 12% are Hispanic, according to the 2014 demographics report of the military community. Several veterans and service members piped up in defense of Kopernik. Sonny Anderson, Food Network personality and a veteran, tweeted, "I took an oath and served so players on a team I don't even like could have freedom of speech." In health news, scientists claim there is a new drug that destroys the characteristics protein plaques that build up in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's, which is showing tantalizing promise. Experts are cautious because the drug, aducanumab, is still in the early stages of development, but a study in Nature has shown it is safe and hinted that it halts memory decline. Larger studies are now underway to fully evaluate the drug's effects. The buildup of amyloid in the brain has been a treatment target for many years. This study of 165 patients was designed to test as a safe to take. After a year of treatment, it also showed the higher the dose, the stronger the effect on amyloid plaques. The researchers then carried out tests on memory and found positive effects. However, 40 people dropped out of the study, half because of the side effects they experienced, such as headaches, and these were too much more common with a higher dosage. The next phase of research, phase 3, involves 2 separate studies. These are recruiting 2,700 patients with early-stage Alzheimer's across North America, Europe and Asia in order to fully test the drug's effect on cognitive decline. Dr. Alfred Sandrock of the biotech company Biogen worked with the University of Zurich on the research. He says phase 3 really needs to be done, and I hope it will confirm that we will have seen in this study. One day I will envisage treating people who have no symptoms, because if you have amyloid in the brain, it's likely you've developed Alzheimer's one day. However, there have been many disappointments in the Alzheimer's drug, and it is over a decade since the last drug for people with the condition was licensed. However, Dr. Tara Spires-Jones of the Centre of Cognitive and Neural Systems at the University of Edinburgh said, "I am cautiously optimistic about this treatment, but trying not to get too excited because many drugs make it through this early stage of testing, then go on to fail in the larger trials." And John Hardy, Professor of Neuroscience at University College London, said these new data are tantalizing, but they are not yet definitive. Other experts have welcomed this latest research, but with caution. Dr. James Pickett, head of research at the Alzheimer's Society, added, "What is most compelling is that more amyloid was cleared when people took higher doses of the drug. No existing treatments for Alzheimer's directly interfere with the disease process, and so a drug that actually slows the progress of the disease by clearing amyloid would be a significant step." And that's all for CYC News. A reminder, you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm David Nada from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night and God bless.